All right, just a quick overview of what I'm doing today. I'm starting the process of fabricating the frame that the Chinook camper itself is going to sit on before it's bolted to the chassis. I've already tacked in a mount in the rear of the frame extension that was added, and for reference, this is one of the washers that comes with the isolators that sits in between. That's going to sit in between the new camper frame and the truck frame, and I'll go over more of that once I get the frame kind of built. But at the moment, I'm just kind of mocking everything up, and by adding these and by tacking these mounts in the back, I'll be able to use this to help kind of design how the layout of the frame itself is going to look. But yeah, this is just kind of the beginning stages of everything. Just using a couple of pieces of scrap wood to kind of get me an idea of how everything's going to sit. But yeah, this is kind of definitely the beginning stages, so I'm just going to get these tacked up and continue on from there. All right, so I know I didn't really go into depth on how I built this, but everything is cut and kind of tacked together and bolted down. You can see here, this is all tacked together. This is going to be the two rear mounts that I'm adding. But yeah, I'll kind of go over it once it's all kind of welded up. I've welded up a couple spots, but for the most part, everything is just kind of tacked together. And I'm going to pull it off and weld it since I've got the gas tank right there, so it'd just be a lot easier to just set up on some sawhorses and weld it that way. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I'll go more in depth later, but the width is 5.5, and the length is going to be right around 77 3/4, so it gives me a little bit of room. That'll give me a little bit of room to spare underneath the camper for clearance. But yeah, so now it's time to take it off. Okay, so as far as the modifications to the frame on the 88, these are done. And again, these are the 63-inch Chevy leaf springs with the low range kit. These are the mounts that I added that are going to bolt through the Chinook. And I'll try to get some footage of the frame installed. But so the mounts that are going to be used to mount this frame to the chassis are going to be these two middle ones and this stock mount here. And as you can see, I just kept the two stock mounts in place, and so these two will bolt through the camper floor, This mount that I added will bolt through the camper floor, and these two, and the two in the rear. So all total, I'm going to have 8 mounts that go through the floor and mount to the frame, and 4 mounts that mount the frame to the chassis itself while I'm moving it around without the camper. So definitely a lot more than than what they had from the factory. I believe from the factory there was 6 or 8. It's been a while. Since I didn't record a lot of the fabrication process of building the frame, I figured I'd kind of do a quick overview video of the frame itself before I install it. As I probably said in a previous video, these horizontal pieces are a 1x3, and these will be these are the holes that will be used to mount it to the chassis of the 88. And these brackets here will also mount to the chassis, but just the chassis itself, where these holes are going to bolt through the floor of the Chinook. I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but this is what I came up with as far as bolting this to the truck before I roll it under the camper to install it. So I was pretty happy the way it turned out. I haven't weighed it yet, but I'll make sure to put the weight in the video once I weigh it. But overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And as most of you know, if you have a Chinook, the reason why I went with kind of a larger material is I do have a slight bow on the edges of the floor, so this should flatten out the floor for the most part. I've talked to a few other owners that have built frames, and they went with thinner, lighter material, and they said that it flattened out the floor, but it also bent the frame at the same time a little bit. So this is definitely not going to bend under the pressure of the floor. So I'm excited to see how flat I can get it, and I'm pretty sure this is going to take care of it. But yeah, just regular mild steel. It's just spray painted black. I wish I had the time to powder coat it, but I don't. So it is what it is. As you can see here, this is the rear of the frame. Yeah, I'll try to take some footage of it installed on the truck before I swap it over. But so these horizontal pieces are 1x3, and the vertical pieces are 1x2. So nothing too uncommon. This should be pretty easy to find at any kind of steel supply store. So this is what I'm doing for the rear bumper extension. From the factory, that's kind of how they did it. This is how they did it from the factory. They just slid in a piece of C-channel in there and then just bolted it. And so I'll be doing something similar. Initially I wanted to design something from scratch, but I decided, in an effort to save time, this is the stock frame extension here. I just got the correct material together to work with the 88 frame and just kind of welded the 77 extension onto some C-channel, and I'm just going to bolt it to the truck. Something I plan to do in the future is to, come up with something better, but like I said, I'm really just trying to get this done and get the camper swapped on there, and I can always redo this in the future, but this is going to work for now. I did add some mounts on the back here, and I'm kind of undecided if I'm going to use them or not to add some support to the very rear of the camper, but I just went ahead and added them onto the frame now, just like how I did up here. And these are actually just 2x4 mounts for like trailers, but it's worked out pretty well. But yeah, so these are the frame extensions that will bolt to this material here, and it'll be fine for now. But yeah, so that's pretty much all of the puzzle pieces finished. So I just need to get everything bolted on the truck and then remove a bunch of stuff off the Chinook to prepare it to be swapped over. All right, so I've got the frame back on the truck. This will give you a better example of what I did. And I'm not sure if this is the best way to do it, but this is just what I've come up with. So we've got these 4 mounts. We've got 2 on this side and 2 on this side. This is going to be how the camper frame bolts to the frame of the 88. And then so I'll have this bolted to the frame while I roll it under the camper itself. Obviously these bolts will need to be removed. I just have them all, I just installed the bolts to just make sure everything lines up as I tighten the frame down. So I will remove the hardware from here before I roll it under the Chinook. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, there is quite a bit of a rake right now. So I'm hoping once I get the camper swapped over and get some weight on the frame, I can kind of see where everything sits. Worst case, maybe I'll just need to raise the front end maybe 2-3 inches, but that shouldn't be too big of a problem. Here are the bumper extensions that I made. And like I said in the previous clip, this piece is the original bumper extension, and I've welded them to a piece of channel that bolts to the back of the frame. Originally, this isn't what I wanted to go with, but in an effort to just save some time, I've just done this. And you know, once everything's swapped over, I can always redesign these and get something a little stronger and kind of more what I want. This is the old Chinook bumper. So once everything's installed, you know, I'll just have to modify it a little bit to work with these, because the 88 frame is quite a bit wider by 2-3 inches compared to the 77. So this will have to be modified a little bit, but that shouldn't be too difficult. I've also added a couple of mounts onto the frame because I might add another piece of square tubing here to kind of support the rear of the camper, because in the original design, the rear of the camper actually just kind of floats above all this. So yeah, so might just add that later, but as you can see, the cab isn't cut yet. I'll take care of that once I get the camper on here. Not too excited about doing that, but you know, it has to be done because I do want the pass-through. So yeah, that's what it looks like. And picked up another project. Probably make a video about it some other time, but that's where she sits right now.